you have ever wondered what the root cause of Remington's financial woes were, then you need to look no further than Exhibit A. This is a Remington 870, what I would argue is Remington's flagship product, or at least their most popular product in America. Look at the receiver on this gun. This gun sits against a dehumidifier in the vault. And I actually clean this gun. I actually take care of this gun because it's in my home defense lineup. And there are some guns that I have that I just absolutely do not take care of. They treat them like screwdrivers. This is not one of them. And I cannot keep this thing from rusting to save my life. So the new owners of Remington, or whoever's controlling the 870 section of the line, take note. Bring this thing up to speed. It's 2021. We can do better than this. Speaking of doing better, I have a broken hand. And now I have full functionality of my fingers, at least. Hand still hurts pretty good. However, in my self-defense lineup, I was playing with some of my stuff the other day. I can do the pistols, and I can operate my SBR. This one, in the configuration that it was in, I could not. And that's because it was set up with a pistol grip and a stock, which was really good because it provided an adjustable length of pull, depending on what I'm wearing, because it had an AR-style stock on it. But it also had a pistol grip, which is also good because it provides a different grip angle. You can change it depending on what it is. It's more modular. Modularity is always a great thing. Now, the problem with that is, or before we get to the problem, those controls on the gun add a lot to the functionality of the weapon. It allows single hand operation is easier, all that sort of stuff. Now, Kurt, why would you detactical your shotgun? Because the trade-off for that extra ergonomics, that extra control with your dominant hand, is that when the gun recoils, it's going to separate some of that recoil into the hand. And I absolutely just cannot do it with a broken hand. It's good enough that I can pull the trigger, but I cannot accept any recoil into this hand. The other augmentation that I've done to this shotgun, besides those big dot sights there at the front that are absolutely thrashed and still hanging on hard, I've got a full video out on that. But anyway, you'll notice that we have this +2 extension here, and this is brand spanking new from XS, and it is a hog. Now, what you can't see here, back at the rear of the tube, is that there is some serration there to help it clamp down onto that ring there. The other thing that they've got going on here are some wrench flats, so if you really want to torque that thing down, you have an option, and of course a drainage hole there at the front. Now, the thing that I think gives the 870 an advantage over its competitor, the Mossberg 500, is the ability to change the tube at will. And what I mean by that is that this barrel is not clamped to the tube. It does not screw into the front of the tube like the Mossberg 500 does. It's just a ring that goes around it. So you can extend this tube at will without doing major modifications to the gun. Until recently, of course, when Remington, of course, out of touch, decided that instead of the snap ring system at the front, they're going to swage that tube, deform that tube to have some detents in there so that you can't do that. You literally have to take the tube out or modify the tube. Well, interestingly, and this is the only one that I can find of this on the internet, XS also makes a de-swaging tool. They call it a swaging tool. I would call it a de-swaging tool that you literally put in the front, and it eliminates those detents so that you can basically just add whatever length of tube you want to the front, and the rounds will go up in it. Prior to that, the rims will get stuck. Or you'd have to machine out the inside of the tube, which is actually what I had to do because I did this years ago. So there were no detents in this thing when this tube got to it. So it looked really ugly when I opened it. I completely forgot that I had to do this, but I literally sat there with the Dremel tool. I wish that I had the swaging tool from XS before this. But anyway, enough yakking. I am out here to test fire this gun because the spring that came with this tube is very long, and I had to cut it. I think it's designed so that it'll work with any size barrel, and I think the tube is now extended to 7. We'll do a count here in a second, but I wanted to test to see if I got the spring length right, because the thing, basically I cut off almost an entire length of standard spring to get this to fit in here, and it was a relative challenge to get it in there even with at the length that it was with a broken hand. But anyway, let's see if this thing will work. Now, again, modifying the grip a little bit, I'm going to see. I don't know. Do I have to? I don't think I have to. I don't think I have to chicken wing. I think I can hook it under. Let's see. But anyway, here we go. And I believe that I've got a shell in here already. So we're going to start out with some bullcrap loads, and then we'll move to my defense loads here. So here we go. I can't grip the shotgun. There we go. I know that probably looks like super remedial. Am I out of frame here? I might even be out of frame. Okay, those were not bad. So we're gonna do a count here. See what this extends us to. These are Fiocchi Exacta 9-pellet nickel plated. Now, what I really like about these is it's keep it simple, stupid type thing. This is some nickel plated lead balls in a cup in a shell. Now, the reason that is important is a lot of the time companies will take the cheap route and basically put some filler in between those to keep them stabilized in the barrel, keep them from running into each other. Basically, if you nickel plate the lead balls, which is really not that expensive of a process to do, you keep them from denting themselves and they fly straight, or as straight as a shotgun pellet load can fly. Anyway, 1, 2, 3. And you'll notice that these are high brass compared to the junky shells that I was shooting, so these are going to have a little bit more recoil. I don't remember what that was. I'm just going to go for it. Get the side saddle. Can Curtis operate a side saddle? As long as I don't bang it too hard. Looks like it can. I think this won't fit. Yeah, there we go. See it? And these are going to have a lot more recoil, so we're going to see if I can handle that increased recoil here. There we go. See, did this stay? Yeah, it stayed nice and tight. I did not wrench this down specifically to see if you had to wrench it down to keep it. I just hand tightened it, grabbed hold of the front of the thing and just twisted it as hard as I could with my offhand. And it doesn't appear to have loosened at all. Full power. All the power. Okay, there is absolutely no way in heck that I could have done that with the pistol grip on this gun, because that would have been recoiling directly into my hand. All it took for me to control that was with it at the shoulder, I was able to, the two fingers that I can grip with, and I can't grip very much with, are my finger and forethumb. And my trigger finger, not that great. I can only get about 10 pounds of force on this. Like, you can literally take a pen from me. Like, if I hold it like this, you can literally pull it right out of my fingers. However, I can clamp against my brace, my splint, pretty hard. So what I was doing is I basically took that rubber butt pad right there, drove it in, and then clamped it against my shoulder like that. And that works just fine. It accepts no recoil into the hand, and that is the reason why I had to de-tactical my shotgun. So anyway, looks like this thing is working just fine. There is a little bit of carbon buildup there, a little bit of powder. The good news is that the Fiocchi loads are really clean burning ammunition, but all shotgun ammunition is going to be dirty. But you can see that it's not going to have any lead buildup because those nickel-plated balls aren't really dissipating any lead into the atmosphere around them as they're traveling down the barrel. Now, the junk ammo that we shot probably will do that sort of thing. But if you have an extended tube like this, it's not dangerous as long as it's not super long out there. This little bit of extension is not going to damage the tube any. No shot is going to impact that thing or anything like that. And we've seen this time and time again with people who mount lights up front, in front of their shotgun muzzle as a standoff device. Some of those big, heavy, like Surefires or whatever, you can put it up front with a bezel on it, and then that keeps you from digging your muzzle into something like that. And basically, we've seen lead buildup from birdshot, but if you're using nickel-plated stuff, then generally speaking, your accessories out front don't get a whole bunch of lead on them that you have to chip off. But again, digression, this is totally safe to use. It looks funky. But yeah, I think that this thing works great. I got the length just right, it looks like, on the tube, and it doesn't hurt my hand when I shoot it. So actually, although this is a relatively unwieldy gun, fully loaded, I can't operate it with a broken hand.